Namaste. So I would like to start by explaining how we embody non-duality. So let me start with an example. Everyone has different desires and everyone wants something unique to themselves and for themselves. So these different desires, we have to realize that there is only one source that fulfills all of them. Let's take the example of having a cup of coffee. I like it and it makes me happy. It makes me awake for a while and it really activates my nervous system quite a lot. So me getting coffee solves not having it. If I have 1 cup, I'm happy. If I have 2 cups, maybe still. How about having 3, 4, 6, 7 cups in a row? Will that still make me happy and satisfied? So how can the same thing that I want also provide oversaturation? We think a concept, a feeling, an object is going to make us happy. Your misery doesn't end due to a change in location or phenomena. Change of location or phenomena have the ability to satisfy temporarily. For example, moving from Amsterdam to Mexico, the misery of Amsterdam doesn't exist in my world anymore. But Mexico problems do. So it is an embodied program. No phenomena can provide everlasting happiness because it is temporarily in nature and you are eternal. You will still exist after the phenomena ended. This is something truly very, very, very important. And that includes after the mind and the body has ended. So where is that purnata, that completeness or that satisfaction, that eternal satisfaction? The rishis present life in a different way for us. It is not in the world of experience and objects. They are all momentarily. It can provide short insights to happiness, but never eternal. And if we are really self-honest, if you're honest with yourself, you'll notice that once you get what you are looking for, there's always the next thing. The satisfaction is for such a short period of time and then the next desire comes in. We all have this deep longing, whether you are aware of it or not, for eternal happiness. That's why we strive for temporary happiness, because it satisfies us for such a short period of time and it fuels the desire to look for more things, because maybe the next one will give me eternal happiness. So let me break that paradigm for you completely here. Consistent happiness is not external. It can never be external. You are that what you are looking for. And I know that these words have been thrown around so much, but it goes so much deeper than just these words. It's like sending the mind out to go look for itself. That's why it's not finding itself. You are that what you are looking for. The mind cannot comprehend the highest parts of you, which means it's constantly seeking for those things that it cannot comprehend. Does that make sense? And even if it doesn't make sense, this is something deeper. Listening, that silent listener beyond the mind, that presence that is aware of this moment now, that presence will translate everything that you need to know. We are trying to remove sorrow from our lives. So let me come back to wanting coffee. It removes the sorrow of not having coffee. It does not remove the sorrow of not being happy, the dukkham, which is the suffering. Get that. Whatever form and shape your desire takes on, whether it's coffee or a car or a holiday or a phone or whatever form you want to put on that, it is not going to lead to eternal happiness. It just got a new face, a desire to strive for, to relieve the dukkham for a split second. So you remove the misery of not having that face, that coffee, that phone, that holiday. Eradicating misery from our lives by adding things that are impermanent, have no lasting cause. Ponder this. If you are trying to bring things into your life to eradicate misery or cause a feeling or feed the feeling of completeness that is in nature impermanent, it is illusion. There is a misunderstanding that exists here. It has an expiry date. It has a momentary nature in and of itself. If I am that completeness and happiness that I am looking for, why do I feel so incomplete? Why is this not in my experience? You might even say, okay, yeah, it makes logical sense, but Carla, this is not my experience. I agree with you. I feel the same. I am limiting in nature. This body, this mind is limited in nature. It has an expiry date. So the question that I want to refer to is, what are you referring to when you refer to I? Are you referring to the correct I, to the true self with a capital S, instead of this body, this ego, this mind, this character? When you say, I am hungry, what are you referring to? You are referring to your stomach, which means you are identifying yourself as a stomach. You're collapsing the entire field of abundance into only a stomach. And you're identifying with that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't listen to these feelings. Just understand. Understand the misleading knowledge or information that you agreed to believe. That's it. The seer and the seen. Differentiate between these two. Why do I want to understand who I am? This is an object to my experience. For example, let's use a crystal. Selenite, if you don't know crystal, is one of my favorites. Okay, it has a particular shape, it has a particular color, weight, texture, gradient, probably smell, taste. Okay, this has taken a form. So I can experience this crystal through its particular form, in exactly the same way that I can experience my body. Is this body you? Some would say yes. And I'm not asking you to disregard that yes, I'm just asking you to understand on a deeper level what that really means. Maybe you saw or heard some people say, I am not this body, I have this body. This body is borrowed. It is the knots of ignorance in our energetic fields and the contracts that we have agreed to believe that is keeping us stuck in the ignorance of believing and trying to prove that I am this body. You see? No, it is not you. It is an object of your experience. It has a shape, it has a size, it has a gender, a form, a weight, a color. You experience this body, you know this body. If this body is an object of experience, are you this body? Why is it not you? Because you are experiencing it. Now, is the mind you? Is the mind I? Nope. No, because you are experiencing your mind. You can hear your thoughts. You can experience the commentator that the mind turns itself into. The mind is a variable. You experience love, doubt, ecstasy, disgust, all different emotions, all different commentary. I love you. Who are you referring to? The mind falls in love with the object of experience. Is that the I that is in love? Or is it the mind superimposing its experience onto an object? There is a nowhere of that love. Or any experience you have through the mind. Notice the values. Can you say, I am the mind? So superimposing permanent happiness onto an object that is momentarily in its own nature. This is the mistake. How do we rectify this mistake? I am this body, but I am not only this body. We are inquiring the substance of the object based on how we can use it. So notice this is the being perspective versus the deceiving perspective. Example, the different uses of fabric. This piece of fabric I call a shirt. If I hang it on a window, I call it a curtain. If I dry my dishes with it, I call it a dishcloth. If I wipe my feet with it, I call it a mat, a doormat. But what is it really? It is cotton fibers woven together. So now we superimpose various ideas onto this object. It is all of them. Show me a shirt without fabric. So superimpose onto an object has benefits. But in reality, by recognizing the truth, it doesn't have to be created. It is already there. It just has to be recognized. We keep removing, and whatever remains, that is what you truly are. So it's not as much the truth being gained, but it's the false being lost. We recognize and realize The contracts that we have signed with this misunderstanding is now being revealed. And we are now letting them go, making room for an understanding. So you are not the experience. You can never be. Can I experience the intelligence of the mind? Of course. If you are superimposing this pure conscious existence onto the mind, the momentary limited experience or value, is that a misunderstanding? Or is it because of consciousness that the mind can be conscious? If we look at the true meaning of consciousness, it is only consciousness that can be conscious. This body's nature is not to be conscious. The mind's nature is not to be conscious. So the only thing that can be conscious is consciousness itself. It is the direct experience. It is because of consciousness that this body is animated and also the mind. So what is consciousness really? Consciousness can be explained as the ability to be aware of what is. Ponder that for a moment. So what are you? If not the momentary bliss you feel, but the unborn bliss. The unborn bliss that is always there in completeness, that gives rise to the experience in it. Flip the coin. Not the experience, not the experiencer, not the experienced. You might say, so that bliss that you are talking about, Carla, that's not in my experience. That's, again, correct. It cannot be in your experience. It is the truth beyond, or rather before the experience. You are trying to make what you are and turn it into an experience. This already happened. It's called being human, which is impermanent. So don't look for the experience of what you are, because that will create more confusion and misunderstanding. It is to be understood and recognized. That's it. It's that simple. There is no need for you to try to recognize and share this and superimpose this recognition onto the world and onto others. There's no need for the world to recognize what you truly are. This is purely for you. As long as you recognize it, and then you see the world as it is, instead of what you think or expect it to be based on experience. Let this contemplation marinate.